At precisely 11:47 p.m., I twisted that rusty lever hidden under decades of forgotten grime, and the whole damn lake started vanishing like a bad dream evaporating at dawn. Above the murky depths, emergency lights flickered to life on the surface, clueless workers scrambling like ants in a flood. Ironic, since the flood was actually an ebb. Victoria Hargrove, the self-crowned queen of Willow Creek Estates HOA, shrieked from her sinking throne on that ridiculous floating rig, her voice piercing the night like a faulty alarm no one wanted to hear. "You've murdered our community, but let's rewind, because this wasn't some impulsive tantrum. No, this was the culmination of months watching a suburban tyrant play God with rules she twisted like pretzels, all while I, the so-called recluse troublemaker of the neighborhood, sipped my coffee and noted every absurd move. My name's Alex Harlan, 45, a retired structural engineer who'd traded blueprints for birdwatching after losing my partner to a long illness 2 years back. I'd inherited this quiet corner lot in rural Ohio, complete with a man-made pond my grandpa dug in the 50s, from a family line that valued privacy over HOA newsletters. The pond wasn't huge, maybe an acre, but it was mine, fed by natural springs and ringed by willows that whispered secrets to anyone patient enough to listen. I came here to heal, fix up the old cabin, maybe cast a line for base on lazy afternoons. What I didn't sign up for was becoming the villain in Victoria's petty power play. The neighborhood, Willow Creek Estates, had sprouted up in the 90s on the other side of the pond. A sea of cookie-cutter colonials with manicured lawns and garage doors that all matched like they were auditioning for a catalog. It looked peaceful on the surface, but scratch it, and you'd find the suffocating grip of HOA rules. No pink flamingos, grass exactly 2.5 inches, holiday lights down by December 26th or face the wrath. Victoria Hargrove ran it like her personal fiefdom, a 55-year-old former real estate agent with a bob haircut sharper than her tongue, always in pastel blazers that screamed, "I'm in charge and you're not." She preached community harmony at every meeting, but really, it was code for do as I say or pay up. Rumors swirled about her, how she'd fine widows for overgrown flower beds, how her husband owned half the contractors in town. Me? I wasn't part of the HOA. My land predated their charter by 4 decades, a grandfathered island of freedom in their sea of conformity. It started innocently enough, or so it seemed. One crisp May morning, I'm on my dock with black coffee steaming in the mist, watching ducks paddle across the pond's glassy surface. Then came the rumble, not birdsong, but diesel trucks grinding down the shared access road. 3 rigs loaded with excavators and pipes, followed by Victoria's gleaming Lexus with plates reading Harmony 1. I set down my mug, heart sinking like a bad cast, and trudged over. Workers in neon vests were already staking orange flags along my shoreline, one snapping photos on a tablet like he was documenting a crime scene. "Hey, this is private property," I called out, keeping my tone even. "You got the wrong spot?" The foreman glanced up from his clipboard, smirking like he'd heard this tune before. "HOA clearance, buddy." "We're good." "HOA clearance? On my land?" It hit like a slapstick punchline in a bad sitcom. Before I could retort, the Lexus door swung open, and out stepped Victoria, heels clicking on gravel like tiny gavels. She adjusted her blazer, flashed a smile that could curdle milk, and extended a manicured hand. "Mr. Harlan, I presume?" Victoria Hargrove, Willow Creek Estates HOA president. "We need to chat about optimizing this. Water amenity for the greater good." "Water amenity?" She said it like my pond was a kiddie pool in her backyard. This was the spot where I'd scattered my partner's ashes, where Grandpa taught me to skip stones. It's a pond. Ms. Hargrove. My pond. And you're trespassing. Her laugh tinkled like fake wind chimes. Oh, Mr. Harlan, let's not be dramatic. According to our community resilience plan, this has been rezoned as shared infrastructure. With energy costs skyrocketing, our 400 homes need a sustainable boost. We're installing a mini hydro generator, clean, green, and beneficial for all. She whipped out a folder, waving a permit like a magic wand. It looked official, stamped by the county, but I'd reviewed enough specs in my career to spot the red flags. No state water board seal. Environmental impact glossed over like it was optional homework. This permit's a joke, I said, pointing to the missing signatures. No wetland assessment. No federal oversight. You can't just plop turbines in protected waters. Victoria's eyes narrowed, but her voice stayed syrupy sweet. Progress waits for no one, dear. Think of the families, the children who'll have reliable power. Your pond's just sitting here and used. We're making it productive and used as if tranquility was a crime. She snapped the folder shut. Familiarize yourself with our bylaws. Your lot might join us soon, voluntarily or otherwise. She pivoted away, barking at the workers to proceed per protocol, leaving me fuming amid the flags fluttering like mocking tongues. That night, I didn't rage. Instead, I documented. Snapped photos of every stake, every boot print marring my shore. Dug out Grandpa's old safe from the cabin basement. Deeds from 1954. Water rights affirming every drop was Harlan property. And there, buried under faded maps, a yellowed blueprint labeled Emergency Overflow System. My dad, an engineer like me, had installed it in '72 after a flood scare, a hidden valve 15 feet underwater, linked to a massive underground culvert that could drain the pond into a distant creek. Legal, registered as flood control, but never used. Notes estimated full drain in 6 to 8 hours. I stared at it till dawn, the pond's reflection mocking the invasion outside. They wanted my water? Fine. But I wasn't pulling that lever yet. Patience first, let them dig their own grave. The next weeks were a masterclass in bureaucratic bullying, laced with the kind of absurdity that makes you laugh to keep from screaming. Construction kicked off at dawn, jackhammers echoing like Victoria's nagging conscience, if she had one. I lawyered up with Sarah Klein, a sharp property attorney from my old firm. She filed for an injunction, but the wheels turned slow. Meanwhile, my mailbox overflowed with HOA notices, each more ridiculous than the last. Violation. Pond surface reflectivity exceeds aesthetic guidelines. Fine. $150. Violation. Unauthorized wildlife. Ducks. Disrupting community serenity. Fine. $250. Violation. Cabin exterior hue not in approved palette. Too rustic. Fine. $400. By week 3, I'd racked up $4,000 in phantom fines for my own damn land. I call the appeals line. Get voicemail purgatory. Your harmony is important to us. Please hold forever. At the HOA meeting I crashed, uninvited. Of course. Victoria held court in the community center. Projector beaming slides of green futures. Neighbors nodded like bobbleheads as she painted me as the grumpy holdout blocking utopia. Mr. Harlan's isolationist views threaten our collective progress. She cooed, eyes darting to me in the back. But rest assured, harmony will prevail. I stood up. Harmony? You're stealing my pond with bogus permits. That's not progress, it's piracy. Gasps rippled. Victoria's smile froze. Sir, this is a civil forum. Accusations like that could be libelous. She motioned security to escort me out, whispering to her aide, "Add him to the watch list." Whispers followed. "That Harlan guy's unhinged. Heard he yells at birds." Boy No started online too. Neighborhood Facebook group buzzing with recluse rumors. I stayed silent, but inside, I cataloged. Emails leaked from a disgruntled worker showing bribes to county clerks. Photos of midnight dumps ignoring eco-regs. The injunction hearing was a farce. Judge Wilkins, turns out, golf buddies with Victoria's hubby, ruled in her favor. Community needs Trump's solitary claims, he intoned, banging the gavel like it sealed my fate. Trial in 9 months. By then, their generator would be humming, powering barbecues and ACs on my stolen water. Sarah pulled me aside post-hearing. They greased every palm. Legally, we're stalled. Off record, fight dirty if you must. Driving home, the pond mocked me with its calm, the half-built platform hulking like a bad neighbor's shed. That's when old Mr. Jenkins, the neighborhood's ancient gardener who'd known Grandpa, shuffled up my drive. "Your pa wouldn't stand for this nonsense," he grumbled, nodding at the water. "Answers in the shed, son." Always were, his words nagged. I rummaged the old tool shed that night, flashlight piercing cobwebs. Under a tarp, a locked chest, key taped underneath, Dad's style. Inside, his journal, meticulous logs of annual valve checks, diagrams detailing the drain system's might. Last entry, months before his passing, valve prime. 3 turns clockwise to unleash. For when they come sniffing, only then. Alex, he'd foreseen it, the greed creeping in. Not this exact circus, but the type. The pond wasn't just water, it was leverage. I closed the journal, stars twinkling on the surface outside. They thought me a pushover? Let them build. I'd wait, watch, and when the moment hit, pull the plug literally. Tensions boiled like a forgotten kettle, Victoria's antics escalating into full-blown comedy of errors, if the errors weren't so infuriating. The platform grew, turbines installed with fanfare. A green gala invite slipped under my door, probably to rub it in. I skipped it, but my trail cam caught the spectacle. Victoria toasting with bubbly, Mayor clapping her back, all while workers ignored safety protocols I'd photographed. Fines piled higher, excessive natural algae, $300. Algae? In a pond? I chuckled bitterly over coffee, adding each to my dossier. Neighbors started avoiding me at the store, parroting Victoria's lines. "He's anti-progress, you know." One even slipped me a note. "Not everyone buys her act. Keep fighting." Turned out, HOA fees had doubled for the project, but whispers of embezzlement bubbled. I tried diplomacy once more. Mailed Victoria a certified letter. Concerns over water stability beneath your installation. Recommend halt for inspection. Vague, but on record. Receipt showed she signed, but my cam caught her tossing it in her bin like junk mail. A sympathetic insider, her own nephew, fed up with Aunt Vicky's schemes, fished it out for me. She's skimming funds. Man, Grandma would have hated this. By June, the generator hummed trials, lights flickering across the pond like stolen stars. Victoria's ego swelled. She hosted Harmony tours, lecturing on shared resources while ignoring my cease and desist. Then the bombshell eminent domain notice. For public utility, it read, offering peanuts for my land. They weren't content with the water, they wanted it all. That sealed it. 3 months of biding, documenting every hypocrisy. Bribes to inspectors, emails hacked via tip, falsified eco-reports, workers' affidavits. HOA funds funneled to her hubby's firm, $2 million vanished. I emailed the bundle to the FBI, State AG, EPA, anonymous, but ironclad. Friday's grand opening was peak absurdity. Jazz band on the platform, catered apps, Victoria in a sequin dress posing like a starlet. To Harmony, she toasted as turbines whirred full throttle, powering the neighborhood. I watched from shadows, wetsuit ready. At 11:15 p.m., party winding, I slipped into the chill water. Dove deep, heart pounding not from cold, but justice. Found the valve rusted but true. 3 turns, first easy, second stubborn, third unleashing a whoosh like the pond sighing relief. Surfaced to chaos brewing. By midnight, water dropped a foot. Workers panicked. Intakes dry, turbines groaned, overheating sans coolant. At 1 a.m., shutdown, lights out for 400 homes, fridges dying, alarms silent. Victoria screeched up in her Lexus, gown hiked, heels mud-stuck. What sorcery is this? You've doomed us. I emerged, dripping. No sorcery, just a registered flood valve on my property. You were warned. Her face crumpled comically, mascara streaking. Illegal. I'll sue. But her bluster faded as the platform tilted, turbines mired in sludge. You built on theft, I said calmly, showing my phone's sent emails. Bribes. Fraud. It's over. Sunrise exposed the mess. Pond a mud pit, platform wrecked, media swarming. FBI raids by noon, Victoria cuffed in her soiled gown. Charges piling. Embezzlement, bribery, fraud. Her empire crumbled. Husband indicted. Officials resigned. HOA dissolved amid revelations of years of scams. The pond refilled in months. Nature unbothered by human folly. Neighbors apologized. Fees refunded. Harmony real for once. I stood on my dock, coffee in hand, watching ripples. Victoria's prison letter, kindling for my fire pit. Patience won. Documentation triumphed. And sometimes, the quiet ones strike hardest. But tell me, was draining that pond justice, or just vigilantism? Who's the real villain when rules are rigged? Drop your thoughts below. Did Alex go too far? Or was Victoria asking for it?